So, this is a beautiful sketch which perhaps we've seen in the past, but it has a great context in what we are talking about today. We talked about Samyak Drishti. If you look at it, there are two people holding their heads, they are unhappy, they are fighting, they have their backs to each other. But you can see the inner child reaching out to each other. Even when their backs are turned towards each other, their psychic being, their God substance is holding hands or trying to hold hands. So just keep this visual in mind. See it and then shut your eyes so that you remember it. And now we sit up straight. We recollect the screen share we just saw. Two people unhappy, holding their head in their hands, their backs to each other. They are obviously in conflict, and yet the inner child in them is reaching out and trying to hold hands. And notice that the inner child in the sketch is the same color in both the people. So there is this one God presence in both of them, which is already connected, helplessly, seamlessly connected, no matter how many conflicts they have in their outer being. So, the topic of our talk today was Samyak Drishti, the right view the Buddha talks about. When we look at people, at circumstances, at our life, through the filter of our thoughts, we'll always find many things to be unhappy about. And Karen Miller compares our life to a pond, a murky pond which has seaweeds, which has dirt, which has scum. That's all that we throw into the waters of our life. And then when a person who really knows how to read the pond waters comes along, he says that this is not a dirty pond. It's the most perfect example of a natural water purifying system. All the difficulties in our life are part of the purification process. They are not there because we are bad or life is bad, but it's all part of the most beautiful natural purifying system. So whenever we are really upset, it's beautiful to just sit still with ourselves. As Karen Miller says, sit still, just sit still. Let the mud sink to the bottom. Your life rises up on a sturdy stalk and blooms on the surface like a lotus flower. What goes into the sitting isn't pretty, but after a while it becomes beautiful. We have the power to transform when we have the courage to do nothing, to make peace, stop tossing stuff into the water. So Sri Aurobindo says in Savitri, our outward happenings have their seed within. And even this random fate that imitates chance This mass of unintelligible results are dumb graphs of truths that work unseen. The events that shape the appearance of our lives are a cipher, a code of subliminal quiverings, which rarely we surprise or vaguely feel are an outcome of suppressed realities that hardly rise into material day. They are born from the spirit sun of hidden powers, digging a tunnel through emergency. The emergency is our need to evolve. So the events that shape the appearance of our life are born from the spirit sun of hidden powers, digging a tunnel through emergency. So if we just shut our eyes and we bring the image of the two people in conflict, so beautiful. Sri Aurobindo says that God is an eternal child playing an eternal game in an eternal garden. And it's that same child playing in this form, in that form, playing with itself, because it's that same child everywhere. So, in synthesis of yoga, Sri Aurobindo makes a beautiful observation that if everything and everyone is God, then any emotion we ever feel towards anyone is an emotion we are feeling towards God, because everyone is God. So if I'm feeling resentment, anger, animosity, inadequacy, self-blame, guilt, what happens when I remind myself that I'm feeling all those emotions towards the mother? Because everything is only the mother. And the emotions, however right and valid they seem, do they dissolve? Do they become weaker? And does it become true that while everything else is because of, love is in spite of? It's the only emotion in us that can be motiveless, because love recognizes that everything is God. And to see everything as God is coming to the Samyak Drishti, the right vision, to interact with every circumstance, every difficulty as a moment and movement of the God intelligence, working for our highest good. Then how will we interact with it? So just stay with that through the week. Any emotion you feel, remind yourself, this emotion can only be targeted at God, at Mother, because there is nobody else. There's never anyone else. As Rumi says, no eye, E-Y-E-I, but His has ever looked upon the universe.